So as you are probably already aware, Taylor Swift dropped a surprise album the other week called Folklore. I read on Wikipedia that Folklore has been described as an indie folk, alternative rock, electro folk, and chamber pop album with elements of indie rock, electronica, dream pop, and country. So I saw that country in there and I was like, how country is this album? So I did the same exact thing for Lover back when that came out. What I did is I rated each song in the album on its country-ness. So for each song, I rated it on 3 criteria. The first is instrumentation, and for me, for something to be country in its instrumentation, I'm looking for like acoustic sounds, stringed instruments, simple stuff like that, not much electronic synthesized stuff, you know? The second category is melody and chords. So basically just simple chords and a country sounding melody. And the third criteria is the lyrics and the themes. This one's really interesting and also very subjective. All of them are kind of subjective. For something to be country, to me, it has to have good storytelling, good specific images and details, and have a personal, emotional element. Now, I know that might be weird because lots of other genres of music can have those qualities. I almost didn't make this video because I feel like evaluating the countryness of something is just so hard and so subjective. It means so many different things to different people, but I decided to do it anyways. What I did is I made this beautiful spreadsheet. Yes, I made a spreadsheet. That is what I learned from 4 years of college and getting 2 degrees. I learned how to make spreadsheets, and I rated each song on a score of 0 to 2 in each of these 3 categories. A score of 0 means not country at all, a score of 1 means somewhat country, and a score of 2 means super country. And since I already did this for the Lover album, I just copied over that template and updated the list of the songs. It was like super easy and ready to go. Then I added up those 3 sub-scores to get a total score from 0 to 6. And then I sorted by the total score and found that the songs kind of fall into these 4 different buckets. Going from least country to most country, we have 6 songs with a score of 0 to 1, so I'm gonna say these are definitely not country. Then we have 5 songs with a score from 2 to 3, and I'm gonna say these are a little bit country. We have 4 songs with a score of 4, so I'll say these are somewhat country. And then we have 1 song with a score of 6, and I'm gonna say this one is pretty country. And you probably already know what the song is, but I'm gonna save it as a surprise for last. Let's start with the songs that are definitely not country with a score of 0 to 1. So My Tears, Ricochet, I found not country at all. It kind of reminds me of Billie Eilish. I'm not saying I don't like this song, but it's like super poppy and spacey and electronic-y. The reason why I gave it a 0 for lyrics is that it just felt really abstract. And that's kind of how I rated the lyrics in this whole thing. Like if the lyrics had very specific images, then I thought it was like really country, but if the lyrics were more abstract and like you don't really know what it's about, then I said it was less country, which I know is like a really arbitrary scale. Then we have a bunch of songs with 1. So Mad Woman, I thought since there was piano, it could be country, but I didn't think anything else about it was country. I feel like the subject of the song was like too angry. Then we have 4 songs, Peace, Mirror Ball, This Is Me Trying, and Epiphany. I didn't think they were country at all in their instrumentation or their melodies. The instrumentation was, as I said, very spacey and electronic-y and echoey. I don't really know how to describe that, but I thought the images were somewhat cool and somewhat personal, but still a little bit abstract. What I liked about Mirror Ball was that there was this metaphor of her being a mirror ball, and there was like some circus imagery. Now we have 5 songs that were a little bit country. Like there were some little tiny country elements. For instance, Cardigan, I didn't think it sounded country, nor was the melody country. However, the metaphor of a cardigan and the story that goes along with it, it's part of the love triangle, is kind of country. So I gave it a 2. Hoax, I thought, okay, there's piano, that's somewhat country, and yeah, there's some cool images, but it's like a little bit abstract. Then I had Exile, the thing featuring Bon Iver. I learned that Bon Iver is actually a band, not the name of a guy. It has piano, it's acoustic, so that's somewhat country. I thought the melody was like pretty country because it reminds me of her older song Haunted, which I loved in high school. But the images in it are pretty abstract. Then we had The One, which it has piano, it has simple chords. That's somewhat country, and it has some cool images, but it's also kind of abstract. And then we had Invisible String, which was somewhat country in its instrumentation with those sparse instruments. But what I thought was super country about that song was the lyrics and how there were all these colors in the descriptions, and she's like, blue was the blah, red was the blah. I have 4 songs that I consider somewhat country, and all of these I gave 1s for instrumentation and melody, and then 2s for the lyrics. So we have Illicit Affairs, August, 7, and The Last Great American Dynasty. I thought that all 4 of these songs had really cool stories and images. Illicit Affairs has really cool images, you know, leave the perfume on the shelf. August also has images. It's part of the love triangle. 7, I think she's singing to a childhood friend, and it reminds me a lot of Casey Musgraves. The Last Great American Dynasty is another story song that describes these characters, like the woman who gets married to the guy and the guy dies, and then Taylor buys the house. I like how it has like a little plot twist at the end. That's super country, I think. And all 4 of these songs, they either had sparse instrumentation or they featured guitar/piano, which is somewhat country. Now, the final song that is the most country song on this record, and it totally makes sense that it is being pitched to country radio, is Betty. If you're a country fan, this probably is your favorite song on the album. It was definitely mine. I think the countryest thing about it is the instruments with the guitar and the harmonica. The moment I heard the song, I was like, yes. And also like just the simple chords. Finally, you get the story. You're singing to a girl named Betty, and you have all these emotions and all these images, and you feel like you're in high school, just like listening to this song. It reminds me a lot of Love Story. I think this song harkens back to her older work the most. I would say overall, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I liked this album. I think I liked it more than Lover and 1989 and Reputation. I hated Reputation. But I don't know if anything will ever measure up to Love Story. Is that what it's called? Oh, okay. Sorry. So we had our first album, Taylor Swift. Then we had Fearless, not Love Story. And we had Speak Now. And then we had Red. I loved all of those albums so much. So I don't know if anything will ever measure up to that. So this album was good. I liked it. I listened to it all weekend after it came out, along with Laurie McKenna. But I don't love it. Like, I'm not obsessed with it. It's still not country enough for me, and that's okay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later with some more country content. But if I just showed up